Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So obviously earlier today we talked a little bit about this, rumored new Team Liquid super team that does not have Jensen on it, meaning that there is a very, very real world where Team Liquid decides to go with Bjergsen and decides to kick Jensen to the curb, which at one point would have sounded really, really crazy to me and still does, but it also gets me wondering, what's next for Jensen then? And that's what we're going to talk about. But first, make sure you guys do check out the first link in the description below for my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. I would appreciate it a ton if you guys went and check that out. The streams have been going pretty well recently. So definitely drop a follow, maybe a prime, maybe a sub. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, I mean, this offseason's been super, super weird. We've gone from one point where TL Bjergsen seemed possible. TL is going to get Bjerg, Jensen's going to go to AD carry. Maybe that's going to work. Maybe that sounds like a good idea. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But, let's try it out. Obviously, it sounds like that didn't go too well. So then we went back to, okay, well, Jensen's gonna be on Team Liquid. They just signed him to an extension last season. He's been the mid laner for quite some time. He's coming off of pretty good Worlds. Bjergsen just coached last year. Jensen has done better at international tournaments, at least results-wise, than Bjergsen has done. But no, all of a sudden, the new rumor is that, Jensen might just get kicked to the curb. And this is so, so interesting in so many different ways. Obviously, the Bjergsen and Jensen rivalry has gone back for years and years and years and years and years. These guys have always been rivals, always been competitors, always been linked to each other because they've always been at the top. And it always seems like, Bjergsen really hasn't cared as much about this as Jensen has, because Bjergsen usually gets the better end of it in terms of fan base and fanfare and legacy and career. Yes, Jensen does better at international tournaments, but everyone usually says that they think Bjergsen's better, that they'd rather have Bjergsen or whatever. But now, Bjergsen kicking him out from his own team that he's been with for years and years now, saying, hey, Jensen, thanks for everything. Thanks for that awesome Worlds. You've had a good run. We would just rather have Bjergsen. That is crazy, and I really would have never believed that, but we've gotten to this point where, again, that is the new latest rumor. We've even gone so far as to seeing this tweet from Jensen where he's saying, hey, who wants me? Because it really does seem like, for the time being, he is kind of the odd man out, and there's not really an awesome, great opportunity for him to go to. Obviously, if he gets kicked from Team Liquid, we expect that to be a top team. Cloud9, Jensen obviously has some history with, and it seems like Jensen, when he left Cloud9, it wasn't on the best note. It doesn't seem like Jensen and Cloud9, Jensen and Jack, Jensen and the management, the organization get along all that well, so it doesn't seem like a return home to Cloud9 is necessarily in order. 100 Thieves just recently got Abadage, and they did pretty well. They're coming off an LCS championship. I don't think that they're going to be swapping out Abadage for Jensen anytime soon. Papa Smithy and 100 Thieves have talked about, do we really want to pay a bunch of money for maybe side grades, maybe even for marginal upgrades, or do we want to, develop and work towards the future and stuff and try and, save money at some points where it doesn't make a ton of sense to spend it. So that doesn't sound like they're getting Jensen. And those could potentially be the top 3 teams next year. The top 3 teams in North America could absolutely be, depending on how all these rosters go, TL, C9, and 100 Thieves, and Jensen could be on the outside of all of those. Despite being a guy who has won a bunch of titles, has competed for a bunch of titles, has consistently been going to Worlds, yada, yada, yada. But again, the question begs, where is he going to end up then? And that's obviously why we've gotten all these, McDonald's memes. Vulcan tweets at him and said, McDonald's is a global brand and offers great opportunities. If you join us, what do you hope to add to our team? Which is so hilarious, so funny. He said, I'll do anything. I'm looking for a job, which again, does hint towards these Team Liquid rumors being real. That does hint towards TL Bjergsen being real. And that's so spicy. That adds to this rivalry even crazier. Whatever team Jensen ends up being on, once they finally do get to play Bjergsen, get to play Team Liquid, oh man, that is going to be so fun, so entertaining to watch, especially if they end up, competing like in the playoffs or for titles or for a world spot or something like that. But man, that Team Liquid roster is looking really, really stacked. But when we actually do start thinking about what the possibilities and everything are, Travis posted this roster rumors report speculation for all LCS teams 2021 video. And what he had to say about Jensen was, he thinks that Jensen could be going to Evil Geniuses. He thinks that that is the most likely landing spot for him at this point. And I could see it. Evil Geniuses is one of the top teams in North America. They have a lot of money to spend. Jizuke is a free agent, so EG has an open mid lane spot right now. But is EG going to pay this huge buyout? Are they maybe going to call up Jojo Pune? I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I don't know what their plan is. What does the rest of the roster look like around them? Travis thinks that a possible roster for EG is Impact, Inspired, Jensen, Danny, and Ignar. And I don't know about all that. That sounds a little too good to be true, if you ask me. But, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see how that goes. I think Travis, some of his EG sources might be a little optimistic because he was also, at one point saying that EG was in on the whole Bjergsen sweepstakes, and I don't know. I don't know if Bjergsen was ever realistically considering, a move to Evil Geniuses, but maybe he was. I'm just a little bit skeptical there. So then that also makes me in turn, a little skeptical here. Then, but I do think EG is a very, very realistic option. I definitely think that absolutely could happen. And I maybe even agree that it is the most likely option. But what so many people are saying on this point is TSM Jensen. Obviously TSM, it has an open mid lane slot, and there's so many questions about what TSM is going to do with that mid lane slot. Everyone's saying, oh, humanoid. People are saying Chovy. People are saying Doinby. I've heard people saying closer, the SKT mid laner, because Faker obviously seems like he has the T1 mid lane spot locked up now after this past season. Some people are saying takeover. Some people are saying that TSM should buy Jojo P. We get to the point where maybe TSM Jensen is in order, and that a lot of people are saying it. Hey, if Bjergsen is going to take your spot at TL, maybe you should go take his spot at TSM, and maybe that would be even crazier for the storylines and more hype and more exciting. And yeah, TSM's just in a really, really weird spot where they don't have a whole lot of options. They don't have a ton going on. It seems like there are some really good, crazy, super options that TSM fans are getting hyped up and excited about, but are maybe not super realistic. And, maybe they don't want to pay this huge buyout for Jensen and something like that, or, but Jensen is for sure going to be one of the most realistic and one of the most talented options available. And also the fact that he is a domestic mid laner in North America adds a ton to his value. It helps you out with roster building so much. It gives you so many more options building your team, not only this season, but into the future. This is there's a couple bad positions in North America. It seems like mid lane sucks, AD carry sucks, support sucks, but mid lane is one of the worst, if not the worst positions in North America. And being able to get a top level, this is a guy who just performed pretty well at Worlds, player in the mid lane who was also a resident, I think opens up a ton of options for TSM. It would also allow them to fully import that bot lane, whoever they decide to go with there, which is still totally up in the air. But yeah, I don't know. As a TSM fan, I would be fine with seeing TSM Jensen. I have not been, a mega fan of him in the past. Obviously, being a fan of Bjergsen and that whole rivalry and all that stuff going on. But when I'm looking around at TSM's options, there is, much less exciting options and options that I would be much more disappointed in besides Jensen. But yeah, this whole story is very, very crazy. All of a sudden, it looks like Jensen is on the market, and we don't know where he's going to end up. But man, just a whole nother crazy curveball to add to this whole off-season madness that we are going through right now. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Where do you think Jensen is going to end up in 2022? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!